Hello, Miami. This is 305 Sports Now, your home podcast and channel for all things Miami sports related. I am Will, and I'm sure you heard yesterday my quick impromptu rant about how happy I was with the Miami Hurricanes. Despite having a very rough and tumultuous season, we're still able to land pretty much the best defensive back per rating for 247 Sports. Pretty much Cormani McClain out of Lakeland, Florida. All right. Cormani McClain is, like I mentioned, an interception machine coming in with 15 picks. All right. And he could actually play, as I mentioned, he could play cornerback and he could play safety, but he's going to probably be used as a cornerback. Reminds me a bit of Sauce over there, of Gardner over there in the New York Jets, based upon his length, and his pretty much his ability to cover. Right. The kid's an absolute stud. He's a cover guy. He could also make some tackles as well. But who also might be coming is pretty much what this episode is about. And Damari Brown, another guy out of American Heritage Senior High School, is on the marks and on the target line for the Miami Hurricanes, as it is expected that Damari will be picking the Canes over the likes of Florida State, Alabama, other schools, etc. Florida State is nipping on its heels, all right? I am a friend of Greg Moss, who is a defensive analyst for FSU, and he did pretty much post a picture and pretty much post him in a FIU garb. He has also, Damari has visited as of, I think the last one was September, and he will be at the FSU Miami game, the next couple of weeks. So let's hope we get that W, because the Miami Hurricanes are in desperate need for DBs, especially at the cornerback position. And let me tell you, if you could have McClain and you can have Brown, if they play up to their potential and they develop as is expected, they will develop. The Miami Hurricanes will literally fix, in the next couple of seasons, will fix their problems in their defensive backfield. All right. Just some stats on Damari Brown. He's played 19 games. The stats are courtesy of Max Preps. All right. He has 30 solo tackles, 58 total tackles. He averages about 3 tackles per game. This is pretty much at the cornerback position. Has 1 sack, has 3 interceptions, and has 1 fumble recovery. Okay. He's a big kid. He's about 6'1". He's about 6'1", 195 pounds. Okay. I like big corners, all right, with speed and cover range, because in many situations where you are in a jump ball situation, the wide receiver tends to be taller than the DB, and that's always a losing recipe for the defensive back, especially in red zone situations. So having a tall corner can offset any other team having a much bigger wide receiver. So I really like the fact the Canes are pushing this. I really like the fact the Canes are addressing this. DeMarcus Van Dyke got credit for McClain. And he's probably going to get credit for Damari Brown if Damari Brown does agree to commit to the University of Miami. So as a Canes fan, as of right now, at least in the recruiting trails, you have to be excited at what Mario Cristobal is doing with this 2023 class. If right now the Miami Hurricanes, I believe, are 7th ranked as far as recruiting, according to 247 Sports. All right. And they're still expecting other commitments as well. And they're still pushing for other commitments as well from other guys. They're still pursuing Brandon Inniss. I don't know if Brandon will decommit or get flipped from Ohio State and come to Miami, because Ohio State is doing really well right now, especially with their wide receivers. So that's something that may not have Brandon Inniss come in, but at least at the defensive back position, the issues and needs are being addressed. One thing about Mario is that Mario has done a fairly decent job at identifying talent early on. Okay, Najee Kelly has seen more playing time as of late. He's graded well according to Pro Football Focus. Another guy has done pretty decently has been Jaleel Skinner. All right, he's a flip, from Alabama. Mauro Cristobal was able to flip him to come to the U as well. His transfer portal guys have been great. All right, Hakeem Mesidor is pretty much a run stopping and sack machine. He's pretty much been a defensive monster for the Canes. You could put him in at the interior and also outside on the edge. And then also we cannot forget Colby Young, all right, who's been balling, since been given the opportunity by this staff, right? So right now, as of right now, okay, although the Canes are 3-4, I'm not happy with the direction this year the program has taken. I feel they have regressed. And pretty much not so much. I know the defense is shaky, but more on offense, I will say that anything the defense, because I do believe despite several games, I do believe some aspects of tackling, run stopping, at least our front seven has greatly improved from last season. I will say that our defensive backs have not. Okay, with the exception of a couple like Cam Kitchens. Okay, Cam Kitchens has been the most consistent DB we've had all season. But the front seven of the Canes has improved. The offense is what I have issues with, whether it's run blocking for the offensive line and whether it's the wide receivers not being able to get any separation. And Tyler Van Dyke has had an up and down year. Played well recently, but early on in the season was not a good start for him. But the bottom line is, though, at least Canes fans, we can hang our heads a little higher as far as recruiting goes, because Mario Cristobal still seems to be, well, that's his thing actually, is still on the ball when it comes to the acquisition of talent. All right. I want people to understand, okay, because I was gonna do an episode on Mario Cristobal versus Dan Lanning, but then we got McClain, and I just decided to scrap that and just focus on this. I have seen a lot on social media in regards of how well Oregon is doing. Oregon is scoring well and they are playing well, but keep this in mind: Dan Lanning is winning with Mario Cristobal's players. Okay, Dan Lanning is going to eventually have to prove that he could develop his own talent that isn't already developed by a previous coaching staff. What am I getting at? Mark Heldrich, okay, the former coach at Oregon, went to a national championship game with Chip Kelly's players. He doesn't have a job right now as a head coach, all right? Larry Coker won a national championship, almost won 2 national championships with Butch Davis's players. He recruited very poorly and developed talent. Well, at least on paper, he recruited well. But it came to talent development. Talent developed very poorly, and he missed on some guys that he should have gotten that were overhyped or not well recognized. So the bottom line is that, for all Canes fans that feel that Dan Lanning is utilizing Mario Cristobal's players better than Mario did, that might be true to some extent in the short term, but this is pretty much a marathon, not a sprint. So we'll see in the end who ends up being the better football coach and who ends up being the better developer of talent. Okay. So once again, guys, really happy Cormani McClain is a Cane. Excited the possibilities of pairing him up with Damari Brown. That American Heritage connection. American Heritage always produces really good college football players, and many of them do end up going to the NFL. Okay, so for any of you, if you please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, 305 Sports Now. Again, brief, short, straight to the point. Go Canes. Let's get Damari Brown. Let's continue to build that talent pool. Let's go Coach Cristobal. Let's go staff. All right, go Canes. Go you. Let's have a good time Saturday. I will be bringing you an analysis of the Virginia game. And once again, I will be bringing you 2 interviews next week, and I will be announcing them real soon, as I mentioned earlier. Everybody have a very safe day. God bless. See you soon.